GC 90.7's Studio A on the campus of Gulf Coast State College. RapLine with Emily Blaze.
Hi, I'm GC 90.7's Emily Blaze, and for this edition of RapLine, we're on location at the remote studio for GC 90.7 at the Emergency Operations Center. Now, you might recall that the EOC is located at the North Bay campus of Gulf Coast State College, just north of Southport. And today we're going to be taking a tour of the Incident Command Center. So we're standing right here in the Incident Command Center at the Emergency Operations Center at the North Bay campus of Gulf Coast State College. And with me today is Deputy Chief Brad Monroe. He is Deputy Chief of Emergency Services for the county, and we're going to get a little bit of information about what happens in this room and when this room is utilized. So, Chief, good morning. Tell me about this room and what you guys use it for.
This is the center of activity. This room is where we direct operations in the event of a disaster or a major emergency. And this is the hub where we communicate with the State Emergency Operations Center, with FEMA, our federal partners, with our local agencies, our partners, with the Chamber of Commerce, with our local government agencies. We interact with those people. They come to this room, they send their representatives here, and we communicate with them with what's going on, what the county's doing, what our Board of County Commissioners' actions they're taking. We also, communicate with them the information that we're getting from either NOAA in the event of a hurricane, FEMA in the event of some other sort of disaster. So this is the information center. As you can see, we've got the traffic cameras so we can see what's going on out there on the highways. We've got the information feeds that we're getting from NOAA and the various government agencies. We've got the weather forecasts that are coming to us either via satellite or through the various cable agencies. So this is an information mecca right here for us and for the county. It's a really nice facility that we have here in Bay County.
And so I know that this was utilized during the oil spill. And you guys were manning this and giving daily updates to the press. Have you had to utilize it, had to activate it since then?
We've had a couple of smaller activations. We used it during the ice storm we had previously, and a couple of smaller situations. We've used it in some drills, very successful drills we had just a few months ago that we got a lot of accolades from the state on. We haven't had a major hurricane that we've actually had to test the center. But during the oil spill, we received a lot of positive feedback about the facility, our interaction with the college, our partnership with the college. The facility was visited by agencies from throughout the country. We've got a lot of positive feedback and about the facility, about our partnership with the college. And the folks were really impressed with the technology that we have here and with the facility located here in Bay County, Florida.
So let's talk a little bit about hurricane season. We're in the midst of hurricane season right now, and there's been several different forecasts thrown out there. Of course, Colorado State calling for possibly 8 named storms, NOAA 6 to 11 named storms, the Weather Channel calling for possibly 9 named storms, overall saying that it will be a below normal hurricane season. How much do you put into these predictions?
Well, it's a good guide, that obviously with the El Nino situation and looking at the Pacific right now where we have a lot of activity, the wind shear obviously makes it a little less of a problem in the Atlantic. But we were also reminded that the '92 season had a similar prediction, and we experienced Hurricane Andrew. So you still can have a major impact from a storm. And Chief Bowen and I were discussing just the other day the likelihood of the pop-up storms in the Gulf or the Caribbean. And those storms can be here upon us in 2 to 3 days. And when the weather warms in the July and August months, the Caribbean and the Gulf get really, really warm. And a storm can develop really, really fast and be upon us quick. And that's why we urge people to go to floridadisaster.org and get those plans. There's some excellent templates there where folks can put together a plan for their family and also for the businesses. We know that from past experiences that about 40% of businesses never reopen after a major storm. So it's important to have a plan not only for your family, which we think is very important, but for your business. If it's your livelihood, a plan to recover or after the storm, or what you're going to do if a storm impacts your business. Also, with your family, a place to go. Make contact with relatives or friends in Birmingham, Atlanta, or over in Louisiana or Texas. If depends on which way the storm's headed. Make those contacts beforehand as part of your family plan. Also, with the businesses, you can make associations with other businesses and partner with them and plan to recover after the storm. So these are all good templates that are available at the floridadisaster.org, and we encourage folks to look into that and see what's available out there and take those steps ahead of time before a storm gets into the Gulf.
And again, to make those plans, to help you make your plans for your family and your business, as Chief Monroe said, floridadisaster.org. You are listening and watching RapLine here on GCTV and GC 90.7 FM, GC907.org, and we're talking about hurricane preparedness, particularly in Bay County. We're here at the EOC with Deputy Chief of Emergency Services, Brad Monroe. So tell me what it takes, what's that switch that gets flipped in order for you all to activate this IOC?
What we do is we watch very carefully a storm that enters the Gulf, and we look at the predictions. Obviously, we key upon the forecast that we get from NOAA and from the state EOC. And the predictions are so much better now than we had in previous years. That's basically what we look at. We look at a lot of the same forecasts that the general public gets. We look at previous histories of the storms, that sort of stuff, and it gives us a good idea of what we're looking at. Storm surges and that sort of stuff. We have some prediction models that our staff works very hard on, and that helps give us an idea of what we're looking at, and it helps us prepare ahead of time as looking at what we might expect here.
So what's the biggest piece of information that you want our listeners and viewers to go away with today?
Be prepared. As the display shows over there, have those items on hand that you may need in preparation for the arrival of the storm. If you plan to ride out or hunker down for the storm, have that water, have those supplies that you may need, the batteries. Fuel up your car ahead of time. Our motto in the fire department is if we get down below 3/4 of a tank of fuel, we fill the trucks up. This is a good idea. If there's a storm in the Gulf, keep your tanks full. Go by and fill up. Keep your tanks topped off. And have that water during hurricane season. It's a good idea to always have a good bit of water on hand if something comes up. We know there's going to be a run for water and bread and those sort of supplies if a storm affects us. Have those first aid supplies. You may or may not be able to get cash. If there's a mass exodus, you're going to have that traffic situation. So even though with all the improvements to our infrastructure since Opal, we're still going to have a mass exodus. If it's a holiday weekend, we're going to have more traffic because of the visitors that we have. So you have to take all that into consideration, and probably people are going to want to leave at the last minute, especially if they paid for a hotel that sort of stuff. So you need to take all that into consideration and be proactive, have a plan, follow your plan, and get out early.
So Chief, what about if the county declares a mandatory evacuation? Explain to folks what happens if they decide not to follow that and decide to stay where they are. What happens if they get in trouble and need help?
Well, we'll do our best to help folks, but we encourage everybody to make their own decisions. Go out and do what you think is best for your family. Now, if the winds get up too high, you know, the fire trucks and the ambulances, the police cars, they're not going to be able to go out in extreme conditions. So we tell everybody that, you know. We try to warn you beforehand, you know, that these conditions are going to come. So the best thing for folks to do is get out ahead of time. We can't guarantee that we're going to be able to respond. We're going to do our best to help everybody. We're not going to refuse help if we can render it. But the smartest thing to do is to help yourself, is to get out and take care of your family, not put your family or your loved ones in harm's way.
A lot of people have pets, and that's maybe why they won't evacuate or go to a shelter, because they fear they can't take their pets with them. Has that changed at all?
It has. We do have some pet-friendly shelters, but we'd like to remind everybody that a shelter is not a really good place to be. It's an uncomfortable place. You want to try to avoid that if you can. We do have some accommodations for pets now. We can better accommodate the pets if you have to go to a shelter. But there again, we encourage folks to get out of harm's way. Shelter is not a really comfortable place to be. You're going to be sleeping on a cot. You're not going to have a lot of, probably not going to have internet. You're not going to have all the comforts at home. And you're probably going to be eating some snacks and not really good food. So it's just going to be very sparse camping conditions at a shelter. So you may not even have air conditioning or anything like that. And it's going to be a really tough situation for a few days. So we encourage everybody to try to get out of harm's way to a more comfortable situation until the storm passes and conditions improve. And even after the storm, we may not have sewer or water for several days. So don't come back too quickly. So you have to consider all that, and the best way is to make a plan, go stay with someone until the storm passes and conditions improve here locally.
And let's talk a little bit about all of the technology that is here in the Incident Command Center. Of course, we're looking at some traffic cameras, live cameras that are photographing video from various roadways across the county. For example, how might you use that in a situation?
We used it quite a bit. I think Scott said 90-something cameras now that the traffic center furnishes us feeds to. Now that's improved since the oil spill. We used it during the oil spill to monitor some of the paths in different parts of the Gulf. But it excuse me, allows us to monitor traffic, to watch the roadways and bridges and that sort of stuff, and some of the weather conditions. It is a great tool as far as the Instant Command Center to see what's going on out there. Traffic is such an important part of what we do here in Bay County because of our tourist industry, and being able to monitor things and and watch what's going on as far as our traffic flows is an essential part of the logistics situation here at the Instant Command Center. So that technology, along with the feeds that we get from NOAA, from the FloridaDisaster.org, the Gator, those information we get, for instance, during the oil spill, we were getting the information about the buoys, the readings and stuff from the buoys, and the reports of the spills and that sort of stuff were right up there on the screen. This was a lot of really good information we had, so we could coordinate with the different agencies, National Guard, Navy, the Coast Guard. All those entities were right here in the room. We were all on the same page. Law enforcement, the Sheriff's Office that were doing some of the flyovers for us. All those agencies, along with the federal government, and were here, and we were all in the same room. We could walk from one side of the room to get to the other to speak with a representative, and it makes the information flow just so much better than having to either call somebody or send an email or something like that. So it's a really good setup. We're very proud of what we have here. We also have the video conferencing capabilities. We can video conference downtown to the county commission room, so they don't even have to come up here. They can watch the meetings here, can monitor those from downtown. We can video conference virtually to anywhere. We can send video conferencing to the EOC in Tallahassee. We can video conference with FEMA. We can have small dropout sessions in the 2 conference rooms we have here at the EOC. The capabilities that the college furnishes us through their IT and technology capabilities further enhance what we can do through the county and through the emergency management agency. It's just a really good partnership.
And so, of course, when this center is activated and it's full of people keeping all of us safe across the county, you guys have to be safe as well in this building. And I know this building was built with certain standards to withstand different types of wind speed. Can you tell us about that?
I don't know the exact specifications on the building, but it's built to withstand over 200 miles per hour. It's a very flat, low-profile building. We have a standby generator that we've tested on many occasions. We have, because of our location up here, we have power outages on a regular basis. We have, excuse me, the 911 call center located here. Our call center now dispatches for all the local fire departments, with the exception, I believe, of Lynn Haven. So all those fire calls, EMS calls, come through this 911 call center here. The Sheriff's Department is also located here, you know, the dispatch center for the Sheriff's Department. So it's a busy, busy place. And the backup generators help ensure that the continuity of operations continues here. It's been tested many times, and with few exceptions, it's always performed magically. You know, it's a really good building.
And so you and Chief Monroe and all the other staff have been through many incidents and many storms. What would you say is the biggest mistake that residents make during, say, a storm or a hurricane?
From my experience, it's probably waiting too late to leave. It's just human nature to underestimate the power of a storm, and I think we've seen that in New Orleans and Katrina. I think you think that it's just not going to happen to you. I think we have a complacent nature. You know, we think that, oh, it's not going to happen. You know, we'll be fine. It's never happened here, and that's easy to happen in any situation. It could happen to us. I think Opal was the last storm that really affected this area, and it's easy to fall into that groove and say, oh, you know, it's not going to affect us. It's going to go somewhere else, and we can all fall victim to that. And procrastination is a problem too. We all want to put off, you know, oh, well, we can just hop in the car and take off. Well, that's something that you might can do, but you might get stuck in traffic and between here and Dothan and be in a miserable state for hours, you know, trying to get away from the storm, and the storm be right on top of you. So we encourage everybody to plan ahead and proactively move toward getting out of harm's way ahead of time. You can always come back and say it was a good practice.
And as we get ready to wrap up this edition of RapLine, is there anything else that you want to talk about to our listeners and viewers that we didn't touch on?
Well, I think the most important thing that we try to impress upon people is to get the plans down. If you'll go and do that, it prompts you to do so many other things. It's a really good template for looking at things. It also, excuse me, encourages you to take steps around your home to fortify your home, like putting up your furniture out in the yard, securing your utilities. So it's a really good practice to go through, and it helps you one thing prompts you to do another, and it's just a good thing to have. It's not only for a hurricane, but for any other situations that may arise, you know, the emergencies in the home.
All right, Chief Brad Monroe, thanks so much for talking to us here in the Incident Command Center.
We appreciate it.
And that is a wrap for this edition of RapLine, and thanks so much for listening and watching. Again, as Chief Monroe said, floridadisaster.org to help you get ready and prepare for a storm. As he said, it's never too early to get prepared, and that way, if something happens, you're ready to go. I'm Emily Blaze. Thanks for listening and watching. And a reminder, if you are thinking of adding a pet to your family, consider the adoption option. Thanks for listening and have a great day.
And I hope you enjoyed this peek into the Emergency Operations Center here at the North Bay campus of Gulf Coast State College. This is where everything happens, the nerve center, if you will, in the event of a storm or other situation. I'm Emily Blaze for GC 90.7 FM and GCTV. Thanks for listening and watching, and have a great day.